Okay, I've got spoiler painted. This was painted right about 24 hours ago, and you can see we've got nice little couple drips there actually. We're gonna take care of that. But just to give you a look, we've got a pretty decent finish, but probably gonna go ahead and sand some of this orange peel out. And I don't know if you can quite see it yet. Try to get it in the camera here. Yeah, there you go. We have some dirt nibs in there. Alright, we're starting with some 2000 grit paper. Soaking in a bucket of water with a couple drops, probably half an ounce of Optimum No Rinse in about 1 gallon of water. And I've got a rigid block here to try to tackle the tops of these drips, and we don't want to sand too much around them. We really want to, in a perfect world, we'd like to just sand off the top and make it level. So see what we get here. It's got quite a bit of clear on this. Shot it really about 3 coats, one kind of light coat, and then hammered it on 2 more times. So got quite a bit of clear on here to play with. But you always still want to be careful. Of course, this is much more dangerous if you're doing it to factory clear. But if you have factory clear, you typically should measure the paint thickness with a paint thickness gauge. If you got some experience and you know the car, know the history of the car, know how many times it's been cut and buffed, or just even wet sanded, or even just compounded, you can get away with without measuring it. But you do want to measure as much as possible. So you can see we've got just about that left run taken care of. A little more here. This right run is a little heavier, so I'm going to kind of sand a little more at that. Should do it right about, at least close anyway. Like I said, I'm not going for perfection here, but I've got a couple more of these that I'm going to chase after and throughout the spoiler. I'll turn the camera off, and we'll come back when we're polishing this. Alright, so we've got the whole thing sanded down at 2000. I've had a 3M, this is a Trizac 3000 disc that I've been soaking here. And we're going to hit it with the DA so that the 2000 grit scratches are refined out to 3000. It's gonna enable the polishing process to be much simpler. Don't need a lot of water here, just a little damp, and we're gonna run at a pretty slow speed here. I'm between 2 and 3 on Griot's DA. All right, so here's how it goes. No pressure, very little pressure. So I just did one side or one half of the spoiler, and you could already see the 3000 grit brings it up. You can just see the finish difference. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if the lighting is going to pop out right, but it almost has a satin sheen to it. You could definitely tell it's bringing that finish up a little notch higher. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the other side of the DA. I'm going to touch up some small spots here that I missed, and then we're going to hit the polishing segment. Okay, so we're ready for the first polishing step. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the DA. I've switched to a little smaller pad. This is a 5.5 inch pad, and we'll be using the Detailing Guru's micro cut leveling pads. These are the microfiber pads, and so they're slightly larger. They're 5.25 inches to 5 inch. I think I said 5.5. It's actually a 5 inch backing plate. And we'll start with the micro cut with the System 51 perfect cut, and then we're going to switch over to the polishing micro shine pad, and same polish, and I'll show you how easy this is. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and open up one of these pads, and these pads have a slightly stiffer back than the polishing one. That makes it slightly more aggressive, and the microfiber is a little different weave, a little different nap, which helps it to be more of a cutting or a leveling pad. Try to get as close to center as you can on the backing plate. There we go. And then here's the trick. Very important when you're doing this, you have to make sure you prime these pads. And what I mean by priming is the first time you use it, you want the entire surface of this pad to have at least some polish on it. You don't want to leave a dry spot. So what I like to do is just put a little bit on there and kind of spin it around, and again, you want every piece of this pad covered with some polish, and that's so that you can have a lubricated surface. But on top of that, the trick with microfiber pads is they have an incredible amount of surface area in the strands, and so the trick with using this, and especially with a nano polish like Perfect Cut, is to make sure that every fiber in these microfiber pads, every fiber is working for you. So you want to make sure you get a nice, evenly distributed, primed pad, something like that. Nicely primed. I can see that it's covered, I feel that it's covered, it's nice and wet, and you're ready to go. Now, once it's primed like that, all you need is just a couple drops. Now, this will be a little too much because I'm just starting to prime pad, but just to show you, that's all I would need right there for really this whole spoiler, but we'll do kind of half at a time just to keep it in frame. So pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and clear my workspace up and get started. Alright, so on the cutting step, we want to run the griots. I'm going to run it at about right at 4, maybe a notch above. We'll start at 4. Really don't need a lot of power. This surface is not going to need very much pressure or anything like that. We want about 15-20 pounds of pressure here. So typically what you want is just to see this foam core of the pad start collapsing just a little bit. That's about the weight you want. Now that, I don't have any bright lights on it or anything like that, but if this wasn't black, you would be just about done. It is very, very close to being perfect. And get you focused here. Just about flawless. Now you can see my runs there. Like I said, I didn't tack it 100%, but it's pretty darn good. All right, I'm going to switch to the Micro Shine polishing pad and polish out this surface. And same principle applies. You're going to want to prime this pad just like we did with our cutting or leveling pad. But we're going to use the same polish, System 51 Perfect Cut, and basically achieve a show car finished with one polish. Show car finish. Spread the product around. Just a little bit more towards the edges here. I want to put the edges to work for you. I don't want to waste the surface area of those edges of the pad. Go ahead and put them to work for you. Alright, that's primed pretty well. Now just like last time, just 3 small drops. That should do it right there. Put the speed down just a little bit. I was at 4, 4.5. I'm going to drop it down just a little below 4. We're not cutting as much in that polishing step. You don't have to do as many passes, certainly not as much pressure. That time I probably maybe just a hair more pressure than the surface, or the weight I should say, of the machine. Not much at all, just a little bit more. And that looks pretty darn good. I would say that's perfect. That's all it takes, guys. I'm going to go ahead and finish out the rest of this, and I'll show you the end result. Alright, there's the finished product. Whole thing, wet sanding and all, probably took me less than an hour. That's it. System 51 Perfect Cut polish with microfiber pads. Check it out, guys.